Hello, hello. Welcome to today's live video. I am just going to wait a little bit for Rachel and Tim to join our live, but I'm very excited to be bringing to you guys, and they've joined right now, so I'm going to add them to the live, hopefully. Invite this, guys. I'm getting used to it, hopefully. Let's turn my volume up. Hi.
Hi.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
We're good. How are you?
Good, thank you. So for everyone that's watching, this is Tim and Rachel. That's correct, yes? I got the name right. I'm terrible with names, sorry. And thank you so much for coming on to my page tonight. And so basically what I'm doing is every week I'm having a different guest on. My followers are made up mostly of autism parents, and just sort of answering the questions that I can't answer, really. Just bringing different fields into it, and music therapy is definitely one that I've been so interested in. I have my own questions, and so did everyone else. So did you guys want to introduce yourselves, what you do?
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for having us, Jess. It's a privilege to be here. So my name's Rachel and I'm a registered music therapist. Tim is also a registered music therapist, and my business is called Resource Music Therapy. And so basically, yeah, we're happy to answer any questions. We're both music therapists. Resource Music Therapy is based in Western Sydney. So we've got a clinic in Ropes Crossing, but we also do online and outreach programs at preschools, aged care facilities, you name it. Yeah, and home visits as well. Yeah, very busy. There's a team of us though, which is lovely.
Yeah.
But really yeah, happy to answer any questions music therapy related.
So like what I thought we could do is, just while everyone's entering the live, we could debunk some of the myths that I found that are online. If they don't offend you or anything like that, but I just every guest I have, I thought it's like a fun way we could end live, really. So the first one is, music therapy is just listening to music.
So I guess no, we do listening to music as part of what we do, but we do so many things. And it all comes down to the client, you know, their goals, their interests. But we do things like playing musical instruments, singing, a lot of dancing, a lot of movement. With our older kids or even younger kids, a lot of composing and songwriting and recording. And I don't know if you want to add.
No, I think that covers the general gist of it. But yeah, it's definitely more than just listening to music. And there is a time and place for listening to music, like receptive music, whether that's, you know, for playlist making. And I generally would do that if we're doing, if we're making like a feel good playlist, you know, if we need something to help shift the mood, and a person is having trouble like with regulation, then we might have that there just as a, you know what, at least it's something that when you feel like you can't do anything else, we can just chuck on the playlist, put on some headphones, and at least it's a simple way to kind of try and help shift the mood.
Yeah, I definitely noticed, which is why I was kind of interested in it, is very into music. Whenever he's going through some hard times, we just chuck on some music, and it can really like diffuse the mood of, or like not diffuse the mood, that's a really bad thing, but it can really calm him down and regulate him to, it's almost like, I guess, a little bit of a distraction, but also just, yeah, really regulating.
Kind of like the same when we're exercising and we put on music and all of a sudden we can do the whole half hour versus the 10 minutes. Yeah, the extra motivation, like same sort of, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Music therapists are only effective when one-on-one with clients.
So music therapists do work individually, but they also work in groups, both of which are very effective. I guess with individual programs, we're targeting more client goals, like specific goals they may have, like communication, behavior, cognitive processing, social interaction, emotion, physical, etc. And our group settings are a great way to practice those skills, like in social settings. So we have quite a few groups that are aimed at social skills like turn taking, interactive, communicating with others, building confidence in group settings. So we have quite a few groups that we do offer, and we're always making new groups as well. So we've got like Mums and Bubs group. We've got, we do a group, me and Tim do a group for hearing impaired children. We've got junior music group, so many different groups happening all the time because there's so many benefits from both individual and group.
100%. I forgot to mention before, anyone that's watching is feel free to ask any questions anytime. We do have some pre-asked questions that we will be going over just in case, but I did notice someone asked a question. Katie, do you find a certain genre or type of music the most popular with kids?
Well, I mean, honestly, it really depends on the child. I know that like I'll go through periods where like certain children are going through particular songs that they're interested in.
Like Frozen.
Yeah, Frozen is a big one. Let It Go. I have a little one at the moment that's really into the Addams Family theme song. Yeah. But then, it also depends on what they're listening to at home or what they're viewing on YouTube. Like, I've had kids really into Blippi. And then, if they've watched a movie, so like Coco or Turning Red, Moana. So there's nothing specific. I think it's really just whatever is relevant to the child at the time. And I think for me, if it's catchy, then it sticks more, right? If it rhymes or if it's repetitive, then I find that kids tend to enjoy those because it's easily accessible.
Yeah, definitely. I know that Encanto and Moana were very household for a while, but yeah, very persuasive by movies, I think. The last quick myth to debunk is that music therapists are just like music teachers.
Well, no. I mean, teaching music and therapy are kind of two different things. Usually for me, when I guess the easiest way I try to explain is when I'm doing music therapy, we're often working towards goals, whether it's from the NDIS plan or otherwise. And these are things that are related to like social interaction or social communication or extended attention, like sustained attention, or sometimes gross motor, because sometimes children will be more motivated to do movement within music therapy rather than with their OT, funnily enough. Whereas like a music teacher will purely focus on teaching music or teaching the music instrument that the child wants to learn. And, there are times when we do that, or there are elements of that sometimes, but usually with another focus in mind. So we might be playing like a guitar, but we're focusing more on the fine motor skills, or we might be playing drums, but we might be focusing on, gross motor coordination. Rather than like the end goal is not purely, we are going to learn song X, by the end of term 1 or whatever.
Like orientated. That's awesome. I think that was one of our questions is I lost it here. It's number 4. I've heard learning the drums is great for brain development. Is this true? Is that talk about?
So I think music in general is good for brain development for many reasons, but the drums in particular is good for like your gross motor development. You've got the hand-eye coordination when you're striking different drums like the toms or the snare, and then you're integrating like different limbs. So we're using like our upper body limbs, which are our arms, and our lower body limbs, which are our feet. If we're using like the bass or the kick drum, and coordinating all that together kind of really promotes good gross motor coordination. And we do, obviously we're using our left and right hands for many other things other than just playing drums, whether we're throwing a ball to our friend, or, whether we're even jumping would require like, legs and arm coordination if we're trying to jump really high or doing star jumps. And so, any time that we can, I guess, enhance those types of skills within a musical context, it's great for the brain development, like the motor cortex. Yeah,
Definitely.
And there's something about that instant feedback when you cross the midline and hit a drum, and you get that feedback that just
yeah, it's like the reward.
Yeah,
like
it's rewarding.
Yeah, and it's so right. It's so immediate, right? So
Yes.
it just feels nice, when you successfully do something. Yeah.
Do you find it's like I don't know if this comes into it, but like stimming and like sensory input, like are the drums like a big hit for autistic kids? Or because I feel like love to like just slam on a drum or something. I haven't actually tried it with him, but yeah.
Yeah, like I think there is, like in general, I would say like from the children I've supported, that there is something very self-regulating about drumming, and also just drumming with someone else, like just drumming to a pulse or a regular beat that's like quite grounding, that just adds to that element of regulation.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think it's I think the term is like entrainment to a beat. When you have like a steady pulse there, it just helps enhance, I guess, gross motor coordination, because you have something that you're trying to land on or hit, like aim towards. But on top of that too, just as a side note, like, sometimes we have we'll see children, and in the referral form, the parents will be like, oh, they're very sensitive to sound, and you give them a drum and then they'll just like like I was like, whoa. Okay,
Didn't expect.
Yeah, and in that sense, it's really nice that they get to explore, different, I guess, volumes of sound, and they get to control that too.
I heard that from once, saying because Jacob is sensitive to sounds, but only sounds that he can't control with him. Like, it's okay. Because I always say he's the loudest person I know, but he doesn't like sound. It's like it's contradictory, but also it's all about that control, I guess, like that they have over that, and like make as much noise as they want, as long as they can
control it. Yeah.
I think Whitney has a question. My autistic son has ADHD and he's always on the move. Can you do music therapy with children who have difficulty attending to tasks?
Yeah, I think it's great for children like that. We've got a lot of kids like that, and there's something about music that just encapsulates attention, and the way that it's structured, and like we're just talking about entrainment, just enhances focus. So yeah, 100%. Yeah,
because like the beat becomes like a framework to work within. But in saying that, if attention is something that's challenging, then we would work towards kind of getting that attention first, because sometimes it can be obviously if it's a bit difficult to get that attention, then going further with other goals might be a bit difficult. But the good thing about music is that it has that beat and helps kind of regulate in that sense. Yeah.
Awesome. Might go on to the first question that we had pre-asked. Can any child benefit from music therapy?
Yeah, I think the simple answer would be yes. Generally, we've seen lots of clients. We've been music therapists for quite a while, and we have the occasional child that it's too much of a sensory overload. I guess for like children with different sensitivities, but in general, most children can benefit from music therapy. And once again, it just depends on their goals, what they're working on, and generally children are quite motivated by music.
Yeah,
that helps.
Which is quite nice. But in saying that, I will also admit that if a child doesn't really like music that much, then in those cases, if that's not their preference, then they might not get as much out of it as another child. But that's totally fine. But I think every child can benefit from music therapy.
Yeah, I guess it's a good thing to try, you know, to see.
Yeah, and also we do like a lot of work with other allied health, so we
Mm-hmm.
collaborate like quite extensively. So, you know,
Yeah.
we can work with an OT or a speechy that, you know, maybe we can incorporate some musical components to motivate those goals that they're working on. So that's always, you know, part of the work we do as well.
Yeah. I think, sorry, there's been a few comments here. We struggle to get our son to listen to any music that isn't the same song over and over. It upsets him if it's not in his control. How can you explore these opposition barriers in a session?
That's a tricky one. If they have a particular song that they like, generally I will gently explore other songs within the same artist, and then if it sounds like what the person was asking is when it's not in their control, so then sometimes it's just all about having a playlist and then letting it autoplay next, or let them control the next song. Yeah, because I guess if you're the one choosing, then that might be part of the reason why that they're having a bit of opposition towards that. But sometimes I might gently, like in a live setting, I might take the same song and then do some lyric substitution just to see how they respond to that. And then maybe it's like, okay, we'll use that song, do some lyric substitution around maybe playing other instruments or do some other things. And then maybe live we can then adjust, like we can kind of change the music a little bit gently in that sense and see. And kind of like we're kind of, you know, experimenting with the boundaries and seeing where the opposition is kind of coming from. Yeah.
I know that, like, I think a lot of autistic kids find that comforting, having that same sort of repetition of the same song over and over again. So I guess it's like almost like themselves repeating themselves with just
if you can take that. If you can take that song into a session with a music therapist, then it becomes very social. And so there's all these other opportunities to build other skills using that song. Like, why not use that song to build other skills or develop other areas? If that's highly motivating, then that's something we will do. But like Tim said, like we could change the key of it. We could leave a word out. Like playing it live just means that we can slowly change it without, you know, changing it completely.
Yeah, that's awesome. How would I go about finding a music therapist?
Well, you can follow us, and like obviously we offer music therapy all over Western Sydney and Sydney, so we've got capacity and happy to do that. If we're out of your area, you can go to the Australian Music Therapy Association website, and you can find a therapist there via your postcode, so they'll find the closest therapist to you. So I can send you that link, Jess, if you want to share it as well.
I'll put it on bio after the live so that people can have access to it. That's easy. That's awesome. I guess what my extension to that would be is are all, I don't know if this sounds weird, but are all music therapists like in like working with autistic kids or autistic people in general, or is it more like you just have like specialties or trains? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think the majority of, well, I'm only speaking from like our clinic, but the majority of people that we support, like at least 80% are children with autism or adults with autism. So I think it's like, it's a big one, like autistic children and music, there's something, you know, beautiful about it that just meshes really nicely. So I think majority of music therapists would be, but the best, you know, just ask. I would just ask what's your experience, and you know, just make sure you find one that's going to fit with how you want to work, because like every therapist works in a different way regardless of whether they're a music therapist, speech therapist, occupational therapist. So finding the right fit can sometimes be just that little bit tricky.
I think that, yeah, as you said, it goes for any type of therapy that you have for your child. Is like, you know, always has to be the right fit, and it's not saying something about the therapist. It's just about that connection between chemistry really between child and therapist. How can music therapy help my autistic child? You probably already covered it really, but
Yeah, I guess yeah, we have kind of talked a little bit, but I'll just kind of rehash it.
Depends on the goals.
Yeah, again, it depends on the goals. Often I find that the goals that are often most asked from us are social and communication. They're probably the big two that I see, you know, like, oh, I'd really like my child to be able to say, I want something, you know, that might be the social communication, like requesting, or I would really like my child to learn how to play with others, you know. They're like, they're probably common goals that I come across quite a lot, as well as emotional regulation. Although that one, I think is, that one can be a little bit trickier to address, because I feel like you need a certain level of like joint attention first before we can kind of work towards that. But in general, you know, it's dependent on the child, and dependent on, you know, what I guess is the most important to the family as well.
Yeah.
And we're happy to do like consultations, like, you know, give us a call and we can, you know, chat to you about your child and or yourself and your needs, and then maybe talk more individually about, you know, how music could fit as part of your allied health team or practice. So yeah, we're more than happy to do that.
Yeah. Everyone needs to jump on that, because that's doing that with Jacob. But
I think that would be the easiest way to to explain how music could help your child, is just to get in touch with us.
It's so hard. Sorry.
Oh no, sorry. I was just going to say, most. I'm very sorry. I was going to just say most music therapists are happy to have that conversation.
More than happy, yeah.
So you know, not just us, but any music therapist. You know, if you inquire, they'll be more than happy to have that conversation and talk about what they can do and what they can provide.
Yeah. I think what I was going to say is, like, with these lives, it's very general, and, like, you know, you're not talking about a specific person. We're all so different, and we're all, you know, we all like different things. So it's just like we all have different goals, and it's hard. I've had a few questions in the previous weeks, and it's so hard to answer because it's so general, and, like, you're speaking to so many people. But yeah, it's definitely just jump on that consultation. That would be awesome. If you have any questions. Next question was, is music therapy only for children?
No. We have a lot of children. I must say we have a lot of kids, but my youngest client is 8 months old and my oldest client is 76 years old. So I don't know what your youngest and oldest.
I couldn't give you the age ranges, but I know I have little ones, and then I know I have adults. So
yeah.
So not just for children, but I think majority of, you know, we do have a lot of kids.
Yeah. I do work a lot with children. Yeah. I think everyone could benefit from music therapy, even myself. And the last question was, is music therapy covered by NDIS? For anyone that's outside of Australia, that's our disability funding.
Yeah, so 100% yes, it is. It's recognised as an allied health profession, and it's funded under therapeutic supports, much like OT and speech and psychology is. So yeah, 100% yes.
How do you go with like getting, is this going to sound weird, like getting music therapy into plans? Because I only hear, like, NDIS side, like, you only hear of, like, speech and OT. Is it successful, like, asking for it? Or
yeah, I think so. I think, you know, the best way to go about it is to have an assessment and a recommendation letter from a music therapist. I think that's if you're going into, like, a new plan meeting or you're wanting to add it in. So I think that's generally the best way, but it is a new profession, like, compared to speech and OT. So, you know, it is more of a challenge for us, but that's not to say that, yeah, we've had lots of success with it. And like I said, it is recognised as an allied health through the NDIS. So,
that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm just going to check we haven't missed anyone's question. Thank you for your time, all of you. I don't think we missed anything else. So yeah, I wanted to hand it over to you guys for this last little part of our session. For anyone that's watching or rewatching this video, if you want to talk about any certain programs you have, or yeah, just go ahead. You've got the stage.
Yeah, look, we don't have like all our programs are like either running individual groups. So if you'd like to join, like feel free to send us a message and we can chat about, you know, what service would be best for you or your child. If you're interested in finding more about music therapy, like I'll send through the link to Jess, but check out the Australian Music Therapy Association page, which has lots and lots of information about, you know, specific diagnosis and how music therapy can support. So yeah, but feel free to reach out to us as well. Follow us, and if you've got any questions, we're happy to answer.
I was going to say, you guys have some really cool information on your page, so everyone go give them a learned so much from your page already, and I'm going to be getting a consult with you. Like, I know we're not from Sydney, but we're close by. I think, you know, any information you can get as a parent, any way that you can help your child to succeed is so important to us. And like, you know, just grab any information you can get. But oh, there's another question coming in. Sorry. Do you think music has benefits with sleep?
I would say that something that I would recommend is guided meditations. Yeah, YouTube has a few of those, and then as well as like Headspace, the app. Yeah, and I think those music is often used with those guided meditations in a soothing, calming kind of way. But I would also say if those are not your up your alley, then I would suggest playlisting like a playlist that is calming and soothing to you is probably the best way to help you with sleep.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming on my live. I'm sure everyone is getting a lot of information out of this. And yeah, everyone be sure to follow them over. I'll post a story again with your page on there. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on live.
Thanks for having us, Jess. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.